Hey everybody, it's Will from the Back 40. Like most of you, I spent yesterday enjoying the Independence holiday with my family and watching these reports come in of these horrific floods down in Texas that have taken the life of so many people. And it got me thinking about a bigger consequence of our politics today. And that is this tribalism that forces so many people to believe that to win politically is to win for Donald Trump, to forward his brand, to fight for his brand, regardless of what he does, whatever the policy is, whatever he's pushing for, rather than to view that through the lens, is it good for us as an American people, rather to be viewing it through the lens of, is it good for Donald Trump? Will this put another notch in his belt? Will this give him another victory? We're starting to see the consequences of that already. I just watched a press conference today with first responders in Texas. I'm sure many of them, there's no doubt in my mind, having lived there for many years, my oldest two children were born there. I have no doubt that many of them are Republican. To hear them at this press conference talk about the fact that it was a breakdown at the National Weather Service and an incorrect forecast that led to them not issuing warnings ahead of time to prevent this from happening. And remembering that I read article after article and watched creator after creator talk about the fact that this would be the consequence. This very thing would be the consequence. Flooding, hurricanes, tornadoes, having an even bigger toll in the amount of loss of life and injury and property destruction than they would normally have because of the cuts that we've made to these services. And folks, I just want to tell you, it's not going to stop there, okay? Listen to what I'm telling you. It isn't going to stop there. We've talked for a year now about the bad ag policies and the bad rural policies that Trump had in effect during his first time in office, and how that increased farmer bankruptcies, increased farmer self-unalivings. And now during his second term, we're already starting to see those same trends again. And don't take my word for it. The data is out there. Farmer bankruptcies have already increased by 2 times just since he came into office. And you're going to start to see those little farms and ranches around you, those 50, 100, 150 acre farms and ranches around you start to disappear. And big Wall Street and corporate ag and foreign entities are going to come in and start buying those up. You're going to see the ramifications of these Medicaid cuts. And I'm just telling you, those of you that voted for this, and those of you that every time we've tried to call out what the ramifications of these policies and of that vote are going to be, all of you who say, no, it isn't going to happen, the sky's not falling, you're trying to use fear tactics. Well, it's happening. Now, I could spend the rest of this video sitting here screaming about FAFO, telling you we're wrong, making this so we told you so video, but I'm not going to do that. Because the consequences of you not coming around to a we way of thinking and leaving this tribalism of wanting to get a victory for Donald Trump, wanting to do what's best for Donald Trump, the consequences of that are going to be bad for all of us. Just think about this, folks. How many of you, Democrat, Independent, Republican, have been told when your elderly parents needed individualized health care or needed to go into an assisted living facility, how many of you were told to bankrupt them, spend all their money, get the Cadillac care that you can possibly get so you can spend through their savings so that they qualify for Medicaid? There are people across the country, number one, that have already done that. Number two, that are in the process of doing it right now. And with these cuts coming into effect, and you start thinking about the number of people that rely on Medicaid for assisted living care, we're going to see people have to make the tough decision. Do they start having to sell off their own assets to cover their parents' costs? Do they bring their parents home to live with them? Do they have to quit their full-time job to care for those parents? These are going to be the ramifications of this bad policy that passed not because we understood the policy, but because we wanted to see a victory for Donald Trump. We wanted to be able to put that notch in Donald Trump's belt. And it doesn't stop there. It doesn't stop there. Local rural schools all over the country, as you have voted to put Republican politicians in office that have put in voucher systems and voted to support private education that takes money away from our rural schools and gives it to kids, 75% of them that are already going to private school. It's just a welfare program for them to continue to go while we defer the cost with money from our city schools and our rural schools. These are the consequences as those rural schools consolidate, close, go to 4-day weeks, go away, lose programs, lose sports programs, lose art programs, lose music programs. And it isn't going to end there. The agricultural markets that are lost. 16% of the people in rural America are farmers, but up to 60% of the GDP in rural America comes from farming. All the ancillary businesses, grain elevators, local businesses that sell to farmers, etc., are supported by that GDP. And these bad policies are causing markets to go away. Row crop markets that are gone, that will never come back again. Beef markets that are lost. 1.6 billion to China alone that will never come back again. These are the ramifications of playing this tribalistic game of trying to get a win for Donald Trump instead of listening to the people that understand these policies. The National Rural Healthcare Association has been screaming for months about how dangerous Medicaid cuts would be to rural hospitals. Nonpartisan organization with no dog in the hunt for either political party. And yet you ignored them. You ignored them. And you voted for politicians that wanted to put these policies in place that are going to be devastating to rural American healthcare. And now we've got articles out there from experts very clearly showing that these special deals that were cut are not going to save rural healthcare. It's not enough money. Number one, you're taking away the Medicaid and insurance from people that would use those facilities, even if they were saved. And number two, it's not enough money to save those facilities. So when they went out there and they cut a special deal for Alaska, they cut a special deal for Missouri, and they may have cut a special deal for Maine, those special deals were utilized to take healthcare away from the other 47, 48 states, playing us against one another. Again, using tribalism. That's not the motto, ea pluribus unum. If we're really in it for the country and for ourselves as a people, then this tribalism, this voting to get a notch in the belt of one man, to get a win under the belt of one man at the consequence of the sick, the poor, and even just the middle class, or to give tax breaks to the wealthy year after year after year where they don't pay their fair share like they did when I was born in 1968. These are the ramifications of what we're doing to ourselves in rural America. The good news is it's not too late. The good news is it's not too late. There's an election coming up in 2026 that can mean the difference between continuing with these draconian policies that will destroy rural America or changing the way we govern ourselves here by voting for politicians that will support good policy in rural America, policies that will save our rural hospitals, policies that will save our rural schools, policies that will formulate better ag policy. And maybe in the long run, if we're really, really lucky and we improve our foreign relations, maybe bring back some of those markets that have been lost. We control whether that happens or not, guys. It's not some magical theorem. We, in rural America, based on the way we vote, are going to determine whether we change course and save rural America. It won't be anybody else's fault but ours. So I ask a simple question. Are you with us? Are you ready to save rural America? Are you ready to vote the right way? I hope so.